They say the ghost of Anne Boleyn walks these walls, her spirit trapped by betrayal and sorrow. But one night, a young guard named Thomas discovered that her haunting was more than just a tale. Thomas, a new guard, is on duty at the tower. He's skeptical of ghost stories and brushes off his colleagues' warnings about the haunted corridors. While patrolling near the White Tower, he hears faint sobbing. Curious but wary, he follows the sound to the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula. Inside, the air grows cold, and a glowing figure appears. Anne Boleyn, clad in a flowing Tudor gown. She looks at Thomas, her face both sorrowful and serene, as if pleading for understanding. Anne gestures toward a hidden alcove, and Thomas follows her silent lead. There, he discovers an old, dusty bouquet of roses, tied with a ribbon bearing the initials H and A. As he picks it up, a vision floods his mind. Anne and King Henry VIII, once deeply in love, walking hand in a garden. The vision shifts to Anne's trial and execution. Thomas feels her fear and heartbreak as if it were his own. The spectral image fades, and Thomas finds himself alone, the bouquet still in his hand. Anne reappears, tears glistening on her ghostly cheeks. She mouths the words,
"Remember me."
A single tear falls from her face and transforms into a glowing rose before vanishing into the air. The next morning, Thomas places the bouquet on her grave in the chapel, whispering a vow to share her story with the world. Anne Boleyn's story is one of love, betrayal, and resilience. Her ghost remains not to frighten but to remind us of the human cost of power. In the tower's silence, her spirit endures, whispering to those who dare to listen.
Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII, is one of the most enigmatic figures in English history. Her life was marked by ambition, passion, and tragedy, and her death shocked the world. But her story didn't end with her execution. For centuries, tales of Anne's ghost have lingered, haunting locations tied to her life and untimely demise. Her spectral presence is said to remind the world of her story, blending history with the supernatural. This documentary explores the complete tale of Anne Boleyn, her life, her tragic end, and the folklore surrounding her restless spirit. Anne Boleyn was born around 1501 to a prominent family in Norfolk. Educated in the Netherlands and France, she developed a keen intellect, charm, and sophistication. Her time abroad exposed her to Renaissance ideals, which would later captivate the English court. Returning to England in 1522, Anne served as a lady-in-waiting to Queen Catherine of Aragon, where her beauty and wit caught the eye of King Henry VIII. King Henry VIII was already married to Catherine of Aragon, but was desperate for a male heir. Anne resisted his advances, refusing to become his mistress. Her ambition and determination led Henry to pursue a controversial annulment of his marriage, ultimately breaking with the Catholic Church to form the Church of England. Anne married Henry in 1533, becoming queen and giving birth to Elizabeth, the future Elizabeth I. However, the lack of a male heir and her polarizing nature within the court led to her downfall. Anne's failure to produce a son and the political intrigues of the court made her a target. By 1536, her enemies conspired to remove her, accusing her of adultery, incest, and treason, charges widely considered fabricated. Anne was arrested, tried, and executed by beheading on May 19, 1536, at the Tower of London. Her body was hastily buried in an unmarked grave in the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula. Anne Boleyn's ghost is often described as a sorrowful yet dignified figure. She appears in a flowing Tudor gown, sometimes carrying her severed head. Her ghostly visage glows faintly, exuding a mixture of sadness and serenity. Witnesses describe her presence as silent and hauntingly peaceful, yet deeply unsettling. Anne's unjust execution and the traumatic circumstances of her death are believed to anchor her spirit to the mortal realm. Her restless ghost serves as a symbol of betrayal, injustice, and unfulfilled purpose, tied eternally to the places where her life and death unfolded. Anne Boleyn's ghost is known to haunt several locations tied to her life and death, each filled with tales of her spectral presence. The Tower of London stands as her most famous haunting site. It was here she was imprisoned and met her tragic end. Guards and visitors have reported sightings of a headless figure in white gliding silently through the corridors, a chilling reminder of her untimely demise. At Hever Castle, her childhood home, her spirit lingers near the gardens and river. Witnesses describe a sense of wistfulness in her presence, as though revisiting a place of innocence and peace from her youth. Blickling Hall in Norfolk, her alleged birthplace, holds perhaps the most dramatic stories. On the anniversary of her execution, a ghostly carriage drawn by headless horses is said to arrive at the hall, with Anne herself as the spectral passenger, creating an unforgettable and eerie scene. Hampton Court Palace, another site deeply tied to her life, has also seen reports of a ghostly figure believed to be Anne. These sightings serve as reminders of the turbulent years she spent there as queen. Guards at the Tower of London have shared chilling encounters, including the sight of a headless figure moving silently through the halls, her ghostly presence lingering in the place of her execution. At Blickling Hall, visitors describe seeing the spectral carriage racing toward the hall, complete with ghostly horses and Anne's ethereal figure, marking the anniversary of her death. At Hever Castle, Anne's ghost has appeared near the gardens and the river. Her presence is described as melancholic yet serene, as though tied to her fond memories of the place. Signs of Anne's presence are often subtle but chilling. A sudden chill in the air, unexplained footsteps echoing in empty halls, faint sobbing carried by the wind, or a faint glowing figure appearing in the distance. All are believed to signal her ghostly visitations. While Anne Boleyn's ghost is not malevolent, those wishing to avoid encounters might light candles or recite prayers to ease her presence. Local legends suggest steering clear of her haunted locations on significant anniversaries tied to her life and death, such as May 19th, the date of her execution. Over the centuries, communities have developed rituals to honor or appease Anne's spirit. Candles are lit in her memory, especially on the anniversary of her execution. Historical reenactments and storytelling events often take place, blending history and folklore to ensure her legacy endures. These traditions keep Anne Boleyn's story alive and offer a sense of connection to the past. Anne Boleyn's ghost has transcended history, becoming a cultural icon represented across various media forms. In literature, Anne's life and ghostly legend are explored in historical fiction and supernatural novels. Books like The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory delve into her life, while works such as The Ghost of Anne Boleyn by Vivian Cook explore her spectral presence. In film and television, productions like The Tudors and Wolf Hall portray her life, capturing her tragic story and enigmatic persona. Ghost stories tied to Anne appear in documentaries and paranormal investigations, adding layers to her haunting legend. In gaming, video games like Assassin's Creed reference Anne Boleyn in their historical settings, intertwining her story with the supernatural. Her story has also inspired artists and composers, leading to paintings, music compositions, and performances that evoke the emotional depth of her life and the haunting allure of her ghost. Anne Boleyn's story is one of ambition, love, and betrayal, culminating in her tragic death. Yet her legacy endures through her ghostly legend, a poignant reminder of the human cost of power and politics. Whether as a spectral figure in the Tower of London or a cultural icon, Anne Boleyn's spirit continues to captivate the world, ensuring that her name will never be forgotten.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.